staying on your number one talk station, 95.1 Nigeria Info. It's good to be back, experiencing a brand new week. And so I say thank God it is Monday, the 8th day of December 2025. As always, an honor and a pleasure to be here, taking you on all the conversations from now all the way up till 7 p.m. I'm not alone. Gabriel Spector is around, and he will be joining us shortly to introduce himself. But speaking of introductions, my name is Somi. You can call me Somi. That's Somi. That's the shorter version. But if you want to go all the way and you want to go long, you can try your tongue at Anemuyo Ikom Bakara 1 of Nigeria Info FM. Barbara is here smiling. All right. I was warned strictly to make sure that I introduce myself properly using that title. So there we go. It is a great day, a good day to be alive. We're thankful to God for all of the amazing things. Some of you had the most hectic weekends, but you're here again pushing through. We thank God for strength. We thank God for His grace, and we thank God for His mercies. Let's get into our conversations for today. As promised, I will do my best to do a security roundup at least 3 times a week, just giving us an idea of what's going on with all the security situations in our country. We're going to get to that at some point in the discussion. We're also going to touch on something in the aviation sector. That's going to be one of our stories today, and also going to be looking at the case of apparent infighting still going on between Dangote and some of his workers under the auspices of Pengason. Yes, these are all the conversations we're going to be getting to in on today's edition of Hard Facts, the Big Three. As for the 5 o'clock hour, well, first of all, we're going to have guests join us by 4:30. Nigerian Health Watch is going to be here, and then that will take us to 5 o'clock, when we are going to be looking at the situation with coups in West Africa. Yes, the coup situation in West Africa. I'm sure not news anymore. A lot of you heard over the weekend what happened in Benin Republic. Gabriel, make sure that I righted my pronunciation. Some of us got so carried away with Benin Republic. So yes, Benin Republic.
You just had to go there.
I mean, let's do the right
thing. But it took a while for you to register. What did it convince him for you?
It took the conversations over the weekend and all of the analysis going on. I still believe that in that part of the country they pronounce it different.
Yes. It's actually Benin.
Yes, I got that.
Yeah.
But I chose to stick with the Benin. We're not saying Benin Republic.
Yeah, you're allowed.
Okay.
You're allowed.
So,
I mean, what is going on there? We cannot begin to argue over semantics, over how the word works. A lot more is going on in Benin Republic at the moment, and we would stay focused.
Yes, we will. So all of that in the 5 o'clock hour, taking us to 6 p.m. when we open up the phone lines and let you get your thoughts in on the things that are happening around the FCT. That's our lineup of conversation for today. Once again, welcome. Gabriel, how are you? How's your weekend?
I'm fine. It was a long weekend for me. It was a long weekend, religious activities. It was also a very funny week. The previous week was quite funny for me as well. You know, as much as we're professionals, you know, sometimes that change in work schedule, you know, just has a way of, it takes a while before you are able to adjust, because now not just work, families involved, other plans are involved. So, you know, it was quite an interesting week for me. But hey, the good thing about being humans is that we're adaptable. So, looking forward to a great. And of course, the week has started on a good note already. Was in a meeting today, and I can tell you something. You know,
Cha-ching.
we are looking.
Cha-ching.
We are looking at a wonderful 2026 here, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now.
I'm happy for you.
I am happy for myself.
You're looking like money.
No, not yet.
No, but
not
you
yet.
are looking like money.
Not yet, for me. Not yet.
You're faking it.
Look at this tie. This tie is not. It's not all that. You know, I've seen some ties of 1,500.
I learned something in life. Yeah.
Talk to me, please. Talk to me, sister.
When you're complimented, take it.
Oh, thank you.
Own it. Or do you think I'm flattering
you? No.
So it's a compliment.
You don't flatter.
Own it.
All right, thank you.
You look like money.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
But now, so that people do not get misled, She said I look like, not like.
Not that you are money.
No, not yet, not yet.
But So maybe you should say a word to the listeners so that you see that 2026 that you said.
Yeah.
You must catch everybody. Can't be only you. I will benefit.
So I mean, should I play your tape? Should I play your tape? Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Let's leave it.
All right, let's take a look at our first story on the big three today. Looking at, we'll come back to the security update. We'll use the security update to wrap up on the conversations today. But let's take a look, first of all, at the Dangote Pengasin situation. We thought that, all things had calmed down on that end. And whatever is happening right now, we're hoping doesn't spill out. But there've been some development since the last time that they were in the news. But this time around, the conversation is around salary suspensions. What's been going on? Dangote Petroleum Refinery apparently has stopped the monthly salaries of engineers sacked in September during its face-off with the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasin. In a bid to address this, Pengasin said it's engaging the Dangote Group to resolve the matter amicably instead of resorting to another industrial action. Findings by the Punch revealed that the salaries were halted following the refusal of many of the engineers to accept their redeployment. And their redeployment was not just to a different number of states, but also different areas within the Dangote Group. We're looking at, first of all, some people being deployed to Zamfara, Borno State, Benue State, and Sokoto State, amongst others. And then in terms of where they were deployed to, we'll get to that in a little bit. But some workers apparently who spoke on condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the issue had earlier said that they were sent to some places. For example, there was a coal mine. Some of them were sent to Benue.
Yeah.
There was a concrete road construction site in Borno and Ebonyi states that they were sent to. And also some people were sent to rice plants in Kebbi, Niger, Sokoto, and Zamfara State. And while some workers accepted the deployment, others rejected it. Many, according to the news reports, rejected it, relying on assurances from Pengasin that the crisis will be resolved through dialogue. And apparently, Dangote was said to have issued a warning signal in October by slashing the wages of the affected workers before they now withheld them altogether in November.
Yeah.
We'll come back and talk a little bit more about that after this.
Say hello, Lagos. Hello, Port Harcourt. Hello, Abuja. This is Kids FM, the family fun radio. Kids FM is packed with exciting drama, engaging games, inspiring stories, great music, and the kind of conversations that bring families even closer. From sunrise to sunset, we've got something special for everyone in the family. Kids FM is fun for children, cool for teens, and just perfect for parents. It's more than radio.
It's packed with educational content such as language shows, quizzes, storytelling, fun facts, and many more.
It's a family experience you can count on every single day. So, wherever you are, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, or anywhere around the world, you can tune in live on 101.7 Kids FM or stream online at kidsfm.ng. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at kids.fm.ng for all the fun updates, giveaways, and behind-the-scene moments. Kids FM, let's play!
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info. Here on Info, we give you a great blend of all. Local or foreign, we've got you covered.
Blackouts across Nigeria as national grid collapses.
The UN is warning of the consequences of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
We are right on
95.1 Nigeria Info.
your number one station for talk. This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
And we are back. Starting off our big three this afternoon with the situation around Dangote and Pengasin over some salary disputes. Just before we went on the break, I was sharing with us how, the case of redeployment, is what started all of this after this last spat that they had. And I think if I recall correctly, some of the people who were aggrieved, the agreement that was reached was that they would no longer work within the refinery. And so it made sense, I believe, when you hear conversations around redeployment. But apparently some of them rejected the redeployment, and it now began to be some other issue of, okay, you don't want to be redeployed as per the agreement, but then you want to continue to be paid, because that's what it came to at some point. Affected workers began to describe the non-payment of their salaries as victimization. This is after there was an initial slash in October, and after that, November, they were not paid. And so one of the affected workers was saying, look, this is victimization. Meanwhile, an official of the refinery, who also did not want his name to be mentioned, was saying, look, we've redeployed you. You don't want to go. Why should we continue to pay individuals who refuse the alternative placements offered? Those whose services were terminated, he said, were given an opportunity to work in other projects such as rice mills, concrete road construction, and coal mines. All those who accepted have started working. There's no issue with their payments there. Yet you want to eat your cake and have it. I'm just paraphrasing. And so it continued. If a newspaper terminates the services of an employee, this is the source speaking, if it even goes out of its way to provide alternative employment, but the employee is not interested in availing the alternative employment, will it continue to pay his or her salary? This, the official said, speaking to the correspondent from Punch. Anyway, this is the situation this is what the situation has become ever since the last issue, I think as far back as September, going into October, around the allegations of 800 refinery workers being fired and all of that. An agreement was reached, but it seems some of the members of Pengasyn are looking to have something along the lines of what they want. Just quick question. What do you think would be the right thing to be done here? Do you think that the refinery is within their right to, first of all, slash pay and then stop paying altogether? Do you see their redeployment of some of these staff as a violation? Because, I mean, they must be rejecting it for a reason, right?
Yeah. Well, so this is a case of, a typical case of corporate power. Looking at corporate power, looking at workers' rights, looking at, should I say, economic survival. Now, when we go back to when the entire issue between Dangote Refinery and Pengasyn escalated, we were all divided. The entire nation was divided. In fact, the federal government at some point didn't even know how to go about the issue, and so they stalled before the Minister of Labour, Minister of Employment, and other key figures in the presidency, waded into the matter, and everything died down. But you see, when it all comes down to it, Dangote Refinery is a private investment, and this is the point many of us had, or position we had at the time. It's a private investment working in the most critical sector in Nigeria. The oil sector is still the biggest cash cow for the country. And so when a private...
these figures that dispute, let's say one of.
In the country?
Yes, one of.
Which is...
We'll come to that later.
All right. Let's not debate it. Okay, but you get my point, right? Mm-hmm. So, a private investment working or doing business in a sector that has been dominated by public entities over 30 years now, you'd understand. I understand Dangote Refinery clearly. You would want to be careful to protect what you have internally. And so what I see here, and I'm going to be very honest with you, Somi, what I see here is, okay, some of you were clamoring to join union. Oh yeah, now at the top level between Pengasyn, the management and the federal government, we have resolved it. Those of you who are not at that level, you are staff, but you're clamoring to be a part of union, and we said we don't want union. Oh yeah, no wala. We will not sack you. If we sack you, they will say we have started again. They will say we are clamping down on rights of workers. They will say it was illegal. No wala. And then we have plenty franchise. We have plenty branches all over the country. Oh yeah, you go to Benue. And really, if you look at the labor laws, you cannot ask a private organization not to reorganize. Even in federal civil service, it is done. People are moved from departments to other departments. So what I see here, that is why if you look at the approach of Pengasan in this particular issue, they said something. We don't want to go that other route. Industrial action. Because if you look at it, you cannot ask a private organization not to reorganize. If an organization wants to restructure, what do you tell? He said you don't. They're not sacking them. They're only saying, okay, you have been transferred to Benue. You have been transferred to Zamfara State. And I think this is where, to be very frank, I totally understand where Dangote Refinery is coming from. Because you see, we have had issues with the oil sector. And I'm just going to plead, if management and staff of Dangote Refinery are listening right now, I think they've enjoyed the sympathy. They've enjoyed the backing of Nigerians in the entire back and forth between the refinery and Pengasan and the federal government. I think to a large extent, the refinery has enjoyed, the backing of Nigerians, because we just needed, look at the prices of petrol.
So what is the plea exactly you were going to plead?
The plea for me is the moment you cross that tiny, thin line of protecting the internal affairs of the refinery to abusing rights of workers, I think they've crossed the line.
Have they done that in this instance? Or is that your plea that they should not?
They shouldn't.
Okay. I think that's safe to say. Let's move on. We have another story here, and as is our tradition, we want to open up the phone lines even before the 4 o'clock hour. So let's get through them very quickly. Now, we're looking at a situation where a report was done. Daily Trust did this report 2 years ago, June, a little over 2 years, as a matter of fact, in 2023, shortly after the removal of fuel subsidy from PMS by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And at the end of that report, there was an indication of the average cost of a flight from Abuja to Lagos, or vice versa. The busiest route in Nigeria as of today was tagged at 50,000 naira. This was 2 years ago, 2023. They did a thorough check, looked at the website of some domestic airlines at the time, looking at a one-way ticket, averaging between 48,000 to 50. Let's see, put it at an average of 50, because the highest was, I think, 55,000 naira at the time. Now, as of today, we're looking at a rise in airfares by over, not this percentage, by over 300%. This is what has happened to us in 2 years. Airfares going up by over 300% in the last 2 years, making air transportation more inaccessible. I wouldn't say it's completely inaccessible, because some people still do it. I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine, a family friend, who had to make a quick trip into Abuja on Friday. And I remember him talking about how he checked, and the cheapest flight in to Abuja from, was it Warri, I think, was about 120-something thousand. And he said it was cheap, very cheap ticket. And my heart skipped a beat. I'm like, what? Because I don't fly as often, so maybe I'm not in tune. I'm not in tune with the happenings. But for him to be talking about a very cheap ticket set at 120-something thousand from Warri to Abuja just gets you into the true picture of what things are. But yes, this is what is happening, or this is what has happened in the last 2 years, according to analysis by Daily Trust. You're looking at over 300% from the check done by the newspaper, with an average of 50,000 naira to coming to about 150,000 naira average. As at the time that Daily Trust filed this report, one-way flight from Lagos to Abuja was between 125,000 and 168,000 on some airlines. The highest one, I think, if we're looking at the different ones shown here, you have some airlines flying as high as 189,000. Now, the paper reports that a passenger can pay as much as 250,000 even for a one-way ticket, depending on the time of travel. Now, this is happening despite the fact that we have more aircraft in circulation, and of course the rising state of insecurity, meaning that you're having more passengers looking to avert road travel, avoid it completely altogether, and go into air travel. And so it kind of makes you wonder, especially with the season increments that we're having. I think as at December, according to some reports, you are having return tickets going for as high as 600,000 naira, up to 750,000 naira for flights. And so it's two things, despite the fact that there's more aircraft in circulation. If I'm not mistaken, we've had more airlines come in since 2023 till now, right? Which should, I don't know, maybe it's my layman way of thinking, which should ordinarily translate to cheaper fares, because there are more airlines in circulation, meaning more competition. And yes, we know the state of things in the country, even as far as aviation fuel and all of that. But has it gotten to the point where we're having to pay as much as 750,000 naira for flights, 200,000, 250,000 naira for flights? Perhaps it's just me as the road worker that I am.
No. Somi, I can tell you in the aviation sector, what's happening there is totally, it's outrageous. Currently, my spouse is in Lagos, and we booked since I think early November, late September, or October, and we're still doing about 300.
Return or one way?
No, return.
Okay.
300.
So still averaging what, 150?
Thereabouts, yeah.
Per flight.
Now, if woe betide you if you have any plans to travel between now and January 15, and you haven't booked a flight. I've not checked. I don't need to. But we know what is being said on social media. We know what is being said online. And I'll tell you something, Somi. You see, when you said that airlines have come in over the last 2-3 years, you're very correct, because there was a massive aviation move, in the aviation sector to ensure that we got, at the wake of the declaration of the president that subsidy is removed. One of the things that was done to cushion the effect on multiple sectors in the aviation sector was helping these airlines bring in multiple aircraft. And you saw the boom of certain airlines. We know their names. They opened more routes and the rest of it. But one thing that you may have missed is the fact that devaluation of Naira also led to C checks for these airlines between 18 to 24 months, where routine checks abroad are to be done, and sourcing of spare parts, which are done in Forex, not in Naira. It made it escalated operation costs for these airlines. So since 2023, as a matter of fact, these airlines have been operating almost at a loss, and they're at a loss rather, and they take into cognizance the fact that they, according to the aviation operators, airline operators, more than 50%, those multiple tax.
I asked very quickly.
Yeah.
You say that they have been operating loss. They've hiked their fees considerably. I mean, ever since with the whole devaluation and all of that,
Yeah.
they haven't stayed stagnant.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, their fares moved up just as the effects of devaluation and all of that were going.
Yeah.
So there was no time when, let's take a breather, let's have
Let's remain the price.
No.
Yeah.
Everything was moving up.
You
as
are
quickly.
absolutely
so
correct.
Based on that, how could they have been operating at a
You are
loss? I'm trying to
absolutely.
understand.
It's the same question that you are asking. I'm also asking, because as the fares have increased, they are still saying they are operating at a loss, meaning that somebody is bearing the burnt, the price difference for Nigerians. But I do not want to say it is the government. I do not have information whether the government is subsidizing flight tickets, but if you ask, just check their weekly release, check their meetings. It's the same thing. Why do you think a few months ago aviation staff workers were on strike?
Do tell me why.
These are the problems. They say that they are not breaking even, they are not making profits, they can't pay salaries. So the question is, one should be asking, if airline operators are going to operate at a profit and break even, how much are we going to be booking flights?
Well, the acting MD of Ibom Air, George Reesi, had perhaps something that may answer this question to some extent. He complained or raised alarm over what he called depleting passenger figures, talking about how it was a major cause for concern. So according to him, traffic has been dwindling since 2022, saying the situation is getting worse and efforts must be made to attract more passengers to fly. As of this year, when he was tendering the report for looking at between last year and this year, I think year-on-year analysis, he said they are down by 27% from the number of passengers that they had in 2024. So perhaps, even with the sharp rise in ticket fares, which some of your explanations sort of justify, some of them.
Yeah.
It could be that at the end of the day, really and truly, as many people who want to fly can just not afford to fly.
I agree
Over
with you.
300% is a worrisome number. But at the same time, I can guarantee you, you see those ones that cannot afford to fly, those seem to not be able to afford to fly, will do everything that they can to fly in this period. Again, I go back to the conversation I was having with my family friend who at some point was considering taking the road trip. And he said a family friend warned him. He said, see, this airfare that you're looking at, because it took him going through and doing the research before he now announced the one which he said was very cheap. Before, he just looked at it and calculated and said, I beg. Airfare go to cost. And he said a family friend told him it is going to be cheaper than paying ransom. So you better pay that airfare. And that's when he went to go and do the research and then came up with the very cheap figure. So, you have this contradiction. You're having an owner, an operator of an airline talking about reduced numbers. But at the same time, we know that there are many people who would give anything to fly right now because going by road is not the safest thing. And so how do we balance it out? Over 300%, I keep saying nothing because my head is still not comprehending that massive amount of increase in airfares in the last
So
year.
I tell you, and I put it to the government, and I don't have empirical facts to back it up, but I strongly believe that there is some sort of subsidy going on to ensure that the fares are not even at this level, are not as expensive as they ought to be.
But how can you say that confidently when you say you don't have the figures to back it up? You really believe that it will be much higher than this?
I
if
do.
There was no?
I sincerely do. Somi, I sincerely do. Because like I said, you listen to the cries of these airline operators. You listen to the comments they're making. You listen to the complaints. As at now, a liter of jet fuel A1 is about 1,000 naira plus.
So again,
I've 200 and something naira as at 2023.
Yes, but has there been a steady increase like you will see, for example, in PMS? Perhaps that's where I'm mixing it all up because NBS, also spoke to this and talked about steady month-on-month increase. Month-on-month increase. So how can there be some form of a subsidy, even though you said it's unconfirmed, and we're still having this increase?
So what I was going to ask you earlier, Somi, is the fact that, and this is not me holding out for airline operators and asking them to increase their fares, but we need to look at the economics here. And this is why we go back to when the president made a declaration on the day of his swearing in, where many people, rightly so, said, see, sir, the case of whether subsidy is gone or not is a different conversation entirely, even if you're going to remove it. There's what we call phase by phase, where you look at these issues from different levels and say, okay, you know what, let's start, we're doing a 4-phase removal of subsidy so that people, you can prepare the economy. Because one of the things that were affected, people think it's just food in the market or the transportation cost from Yanya to Beggar. No, these are some of the issues that began to get out of control. Again, I would say, Somi, I was going to mention earlier, are you aware that even though multiple airline aircraft were purchased after the declaration, are you aware many have been grounded also? There's a particular one, if you mention the top 3 airlines now, the probably number 1 on that list of the airlines in Nigeria right now, go and ask people who patronize that airline. Go and ask them how many times they've missed their flights. Why? Because multiple...
No, you see that one. I'm going to put it squarely at the table of the airlines themselves because they have been terrible in their operational ability.
You are right.
And this is not... Perhaps let
me finish. Let me finish. You are absolutely right. You see, I just, in August or September, I was in Lagos. I was supposed to be on the show by 3 p.m. I booked a flight for 10:20. Guess what? The flight was moved to 2 p.m. Unprovoked. One of the top 3. So, I mean, I have my issues, my fight with them. But my point is this. These airlines, these aircraft rather, that you see, they are not maintained here. They are maintained abroad. And then when these guys who do not even have access to as much forex as they need to do the not necessary maintenance and require. Because if these aircrafts crash, we are the ones that will still cry. I rather that we're managing one, and that is one. You see, so you see, it's a vicious cycle. So where one look at the one of the top three. I don't want to give hints, right? I have a friend who works as a hostess in that airline. One aircraft can do like 4, 5, 6 sectors from Lagos to Ghana, Ghana to Abuja, Abuja to Cote d'Ivoire, Cote d'Ivoire back to in one day. Tell me these aircraft will not break down.
So whose responsibility is that? I just want to be sure that is this a
systemic failure all around.
All around.
We are looking at the aviation ministers, the different aviation ministers, from Hadi Sirika to Festus Kiamo to the current one. What has been done? How have you guys handled the aviation sector?
Kiamo is the current one.
Is it the current one? Okay, I think I'm mixing them up with I was mixing up with Fani Kayode. Right? What have we done so far that we have ridiculed the aviation sector this bad? We are looking at policies here, macro, micro, that are not adding up and affecting common. Now, you are talking about insecurity. Frankly speaking, my honest advice to anybody: if you don't have money for flights, sit down in your house.
Okay, we need to take the final story so that we can open up the phone lines.
Right.
People, and it's the security. It's
quite
roundup.
painful to me.
Security roundup, again, maybe something to lend credence to Gabriel's final thoughts. But before we touch on that very quickly, IATA, speaking on this matter, was giving an analysis of everything that's led us to where we are today. And at some point, they talked about the cost of flying and how it impacts the magnitude of benefits that can be generated by air travel. Two things they said. One, in the past 50 years, flight costs have decreased by 70% globally, making air transport more accessible. And they also spoke to the fact that the average real fare in Nigeria decreased by 43.6% between 2011 and 2023, with the local population now needing to work 37.6 days to afford a plane ticket. Overall, 40 flights per 1,000 population were taken in 2023. All of this happened before we got to where we are today, because the analysis is from 2023 up to 2025. I'm sure when we open up the phone lines, the rest of you will speak to the issues. Now, very quickly, the security roundup, looking at over the weekend what happened in the southeast, started with... sorry.
Yeah.
I can see you breathing heavily already. All right. Yes, so it started with an attack at a church. Yes, gunmen attacked the church in Anambra State, killed the pastor's wife, razed his house and vehicles, and partly burned his church as well. Apparently, this happened in Isiokwe, a community in Lilu town, which is under Ihiala local government area of the state. Residents say that it appears that the pastor himself, identified as Venerable Obiese, was the target, but when he escaped, they took it out on his wife and burnt down his house and vehicles. Of course, the residents spoke under condition of anonymity. Videos circulated showing the state of things there. And the police also has spoken on the attack. Tochukwu Ikenga, police spokesperson in Anambra State, confirmed that indeed this latest church attack in Lilu did happen. Apparently, Lilu and other communities in Ihiala local government area have been attacked by gunmen terrorizing residents in the area for years. Many residents are said to have fled the community in the heat of attacks by hoodlums who took over the community in 2021. Obiara Agbasilo, apparently a Labour Party candidate in the 2021 governorship election in Anambra State, was said to have been abducted in September of that year and has yet to be seen since his abduction, amidst reports that he has been killed. Concerning this particular attack now that happened at the church, of course, condemnations from the security forces. The commissioner also sympathizing with the family of the victims as well as the community members, and urging residents to remain calm. Funny that even after this statement was made, urging residents to remain calm, another attack happened this time around in Njikoka local government area of the state. This was in Northia in Anambra State. According to Premium Times, it happened about 6 p.m. at Afo Market Junction along Oka Onisha Old Road within the Northia community in southeastern states. Just hours after the attack, on St. Andrew's Anglican Church in Lilu in Ihiala. Now, there are different reports that have come out on this one. At some point, I read some dailies that refer to this attack as some sort of a cultist attack. Apparently, the victims were at the Market Junction, also known as Afo Junction, or Fair Market Junction. And then the gunmen that appeared and carried out this dastardly attack appeared in a black Jeep and started shooting at people. So, 4 people are said to have been killed in the attack and many injured as well. We do hope, again, this is coming back to the conversation around attacks in the southeast, where security is said to have deteriorated, particularly in Anambra State, where there have been frequent attacks by armed persons in recent times, calling on the government officials to take note and do something very drastically. Now, as far as southeast attacks, reports have it that, these attacks by these gunmen usually target security agencies, government officials, and facilities. But the one at the church was said to have been a new direction in which the attacks were going. Either way, there's definitely a lot that needs to be done within the southeast and the state in particular to check on activities by these horrible people. For a minute, I was going to say bandits, because when we think insecurity, apparently now we have somehow subconsciously developed different categorizations for them. So when they're in the east, the southeast, the news reports have it as hoodlums, gunmen, sometimes unknown. But in other parts of the country, it's different. Speaking about other parts of the country, troops foiled a robbery attempt and rescued abducted travelers in Taraba State. We will say kudos to troops of the 6th Brigade, Nigerian Army Sector 3, under Operation Whirl Stroke, who was said to have foiled this attempt, rescuing abducted travelers and recovering illegal arms in separate missions across the state. 2 separate missions, not knowing whether the 2 were connected. But the first one happened in Manya in Kufai Amadu, and Garin Sambo was the second one in Takum local government area. And speaking about recovery, just very quickly, in case you missed it, government is said to have regained, or how do I call it? I'm trying to be careful with this one. 100 of the pupils from the Niger school attack have also regained their freedom, and this has been accredited to efforts by the government. Not a lot of information as to how they went about securing them. Was it a ransom? We don't have all that information. But yes, 100 of the pupils who were still in captivity in Niger State are said to have regained their freedom. And of course, as at the time of the report, they were receiving medical attention. That means that at least 153 pupils still caught up in that net, and then some of the teachers as well still held in captivity, but 100 have made it out. That's the security roundup.
Well, for me, what can I say? It's sad. It's really sad that, let me not start with that. Let me start by saying kudos to the Nigerian Army for foiling that particular attack, and of course seeing to the rescue of the students in Niger State. It's boosts the morale. Many Nigerians are beginning to have fatigue, bad news fatigue, or the many reports on killings of kidnapping and all of it, and I genuinely think, or do you want us to go for the break first?
We have a few minutes, just wrap it up.
Okay, all right. I genuinely think that one of the reasons why many Nigerians are still complaining about the insecurity is because beyond the rhetorics, we've not really seen that intentional, concerted effort by the government, by the state, to address insecurity in the country. There's something called the broken window theory. I think it was developed by Wilson and Kelly in 1982, talking about the fact that in a particular community, if you have a building with broken windows unrepaired, it gives an idea or thinking that neighborhood is a rough neighborhood, and so you see crime increase in that kind of neighborhood just by the psychological effect of broken windows. And so it says a broken window grows to become a bombed building. And this is the exact thing we see in Nigeria, where pockets of insecurity have been allowed to thrive. The foiling of these attacks and the rescuing, why are we talking about rescuing students? It's not the first time it's happening in the country. We have the unresolved till today, 2014 Chibok girl situation. So a country that knows that it is susceptible to students being packed in numbers, we allowed it to happen first, is a failure.
And then it continues to happen. Is that the point you're making?
Of course it does.
Okay. All right, let's take the commercial break. When we come back, we will open up the phone lines and get your thoughts on all the stories shared so far. It's 95.1 Nigeria Info. We'll be back after the news.
As Christmas approaches, smiles light up everywhere. Pantete Security Service Nigeria.
economy and the staff. But when the company workers want to agitate to union, the big men got together and say the company will take all of us to contract us. And the contract is not that you are going anytime they can fire you. The same thing is happening in Dangote. You don't allow to union. The workers say they want to go union. That means you are not treating them well. But you are treating the workers well, they will not go to union. Maybe even the salary of workers of Dangote, they are not doing good. They are not giving them good salary. So that is the problem. Then people are aware of that. So then we should look into the workers' affair and let them unite to you before they will not do anything. They'll follow what you want. But as far as is material, there is not paying them well, take care of them, they need it, why they'll go to union? The union will protect them. Because when you are working, you have no pay, you have no anything, just a salary. Your safety is not, even if you are sick, you're going to treat yourself. That's what is happening there with it.
Okay.
So that's the problem.
All right. Thank you so much for waiting.
And I know about them with workers very well.
Oh, all right. Thank you for weighing in. So perhaps the situation around this redeployment and the stopping of their salaries, you think is, I don't know, you think that it's a Dangote problem as opposed to a Pengasson problem? Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon.
I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Based on the Dangote issue, there is something that Nigerians are not aware about Dangote. Dangote is a private company, not a government company. Nupeng is a federal company. Dangote is...
Nupeng is not a company, though.
Sorry?
Nupeng is not a company, though. National Union of Petroleum and Gas.
It's not a private. He took the license for a private use, not under the federal government.
Go ahead, please.
Am I correct?
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Fine. So it's a private company, a private liability company. Why the Nupeng is a federal thing that has to do with Nigeria. So he has the right to manage his company the way he wants it, and he's not entitled to join the Nupeng. But it's under the NLC. Dangote is under NLC, not the Nupeng. So I don't know, maybe you should clarify us with these things so that we know what to say about this.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think the issue is with the Pengasson, not Nupeng. In this instance, I don't know if we can extricate them from each other. But yes, Pengasson is the one that has the issue here. Not Nupeng, that's one. And then secondly, it's a union. I don't know if there's a company issue.
No. You're right. It's a union.
Okay. So, but yes, you're right about the fact that Dangote is a private organization. I don't think Nigerians are unaware of the fact that it's a private-led business. But at the same time, I'll just use Gabriel's words to say, look, despite the fact that you have the what is it now? The support of Nigerians, emotional support of Nigerians, because how many Nigerians actually are aware of the workings on the inside of there? But Nigerians are sort of the word is failing me now. They would rally around a Dangote because of what he seems to be
what he seems to represent. Yeah,
as far as the refinery and the petroleum sector of Nigeria, but at the same time, Gabriel said something. Despite that, you want to be careful. Because yes, I work in a private institution, for example. If they want to redeploy me, whether it's intentional or unintentional redeployment, like I said, for me, it's a case of, are the terms favorable? And if the terms are favorable, I will go along. If the terms are not favorable, I have two options. Sit down and have a conversation, which I think is what Pengasson is trying to do with Dangote in this instance, to the ones who refused their redeployment.
Yeah.
See if they can have some kind of a middle ground. But as to whether he has a right to redeploy, just like you said, he's right. But at the same time, you don't want to weaponize that right, I think, is where you were going with your point.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's take some more calls. Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Somi, sorry, I want to clear one little thing to people in Nigeria to are aware of this is please. This Comrade Salesu. See, Pengasi is a union. And the workers of Dangote, The tenders have no right to go there and put them for union. If the workers, then workers will write to tenders that see, this company we are working are not paying us well, they are making us also things like this. I want to join you to help us, give us to come and store us as a union or as a chairman to do election for us. Before tenders will come in. That's what is happening. The problem is from there. That's what I'm saying. When the company is working with the workers very well, they will not write to Benghazi.
Okay.
They will not like to join the union.
All right.
Yeah, hello?
I got you, sir. Thank you very much. I think your point is clear. Let's go to the messages here. Olale Babalola from Katampe says, what do you expect when we have a president that doesn't want to give to the citizens than to tax the citizens every day? A government that doesn't want to take responsibility than to tax us in every angle. Can someone tell me one thing that this government has done to the citizens than to extort us with different types of tax? What are you referring to here, Babalola? I'm not quite sure. Is this on the aviation issue? Is that a federal government thing? The rise in aviation prices. Can we put that squarely at the feet of the federal government? Yes, the announcement on petroleum subsidy removal was a contributing factor, but I'm just trying to get your point there. Obande says, good afternoon to you all. I don't believe that the airline operators are truly running at a loss. Let's use a simple analogy with a petty businesswoman like a tomato seller. Why remain in a business where you purchase a basket of tomato for 50,000 naira and continue selling it for 34,000 naira or less, not once or twice, and then you still remain in the business? Come on, there is God, though. Yes, we agree that the economy is bad at all levels, Obande says, but again, the burden is pushed down to the customers, which is a fact. Thank you so much.
Except he's saying that the airlines are lying, because when I said that they're running at a loss, I was quoting, like I said, their press briefs, their statements. I wasn't speaking because I work there. I'm saying what they say.
What they said.
Yeah, so is it that they are lying? And I'm not going to even sit here and begin to hold forth for the airlines, whether to begin to defend them and say, no, they are running at a loss indeed. But here is the thing. I sincerely believe that there are a lot of things internally that many people do not understand, such as when you look at the way the airlines are being run, many of them have foreign investors. Many of them have even local investors who turn in lots and lots of money. It's just like when people open a fuel station. You'd wonder that people make a lot of money. I've had interaction with sort of some managers. They tell you that it is like 10 naira or 20 naira on each liter. But you know that when you now look at the volume, let's say they sell like 100,000 liters in a day, multiply that. Do you understand? So when they say that they're not running at a profit, perhaps they're looking at it from ticket by ticket, is not entirely, but when you look at the assets, I don't know. I don't work in the sector, but I was just trying to reference what they have been saying, that they run at a loss. So is it that they're lying? They're not telling us what the truth is, or they're misrepresenting the fact, or they're actually running at a loss?
All right. A few more messages and a few more calls in the 6 minutes we have left. Olufemi Victor sent this one in. Good afternoon. I would like to tell Gabriel that Nigerians will never be ready for subsidy removal, whether phased or not.
I agree.
The president made the right decision. We should have... I thought you were going to agree to that one.
This one?
The president made the right decision. We should have made about 20 years ago. We will definitely recover. It's a matter of time, he says. The signs are already there. For example, India did not become a $4 trillion economy overnight. They went through the same phase we're going through. I would like to say we can't continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. I'm only going to say one thing to you there, sir. I need a period. Or like, what is the period of recovery? I remember when this decision was made, the removal of subsidy. That was the same thing the federal government kept saying. And at a point, they said, give it 2 years. When the 2 year, we're past the 2 year mark now. How much longer before we recover? That's the only question I have for you.
Let me add one more thing to the comment. So I agree to some things he says. Nigerians will never be ready. Anything that would make the life of Nigerians inconvenienced, nobody is going to be ready for that. So either phase out removal or sudden removal like the president did, and no one was going to be cool with Nigerians. But here's the point. You see, when you have removed subsidy and we are running the kind of ultra expensive government we're running, then there's a problem.
True.
The India you referenced, are they running? Go and look at their constitution, look at their parliament. Are they running the kind of expensive government that we run? Have we been able to cut down on government overhead costs? Have we been able to cut down on certain expenses that need less, that can wait? So these are the questions we need to ask. We are asking Nigerians to tighten the belt, whereas the government officials, political elites are loosening their belt because they have been overfed, they are overfull, their bet cannot even catch itself again.
Okay. Let's take this few more. Time is just about up, and we have guests join us by 4:30. Abraham K. Swen on Facebook says he's watching and following live from Liberia, Monrovia. Thank you so much for joining us. Henry Ewunonu, I pronounced that well, said road transport is not even affordable to many. Abuja to Owerri is about 50,000 naira now. Why are human beings making Christmas look like evil? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ladies. Somi.
Welcome, sir.
And Gabriel.
Welcome, Abubakar.
Thank you. Abubakar Salam from Gwawalaga.
All right.
Before Dangote Refinery came on board, the NNPCL continued raising the pump price of fuel until it reached almost getting to 1,000. And when Dangote Refinery came on board, he did not come with a lower price. He adopted the pattern of NNPCL with higher pump price. So the congression or whatever you are talking is the oil worker pressure group. It's representing the interests of oil workers. You have to protect them. So he must abide too. It's an industrial issue. You can't operate. It is like a journalist institution whereby you have guild of editors, Nigerian Union of Journalists, whatever. They're all pressure group protecting the interests of journalists, whether concerning accidents or maltreatment of journalists.
All right.
They came on board. So Dangote must abide by the oil worker pressure group.
All right.
We have seen a lot of things by Dangote. In the cement sector, he was not complaining. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And our last call before we wrap up on the big three this afternoon.
Hello.
Hey, sis.
Good
How
afternoon.
are you, sis?
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm well, thank you. Welcome.
Oh, it's like we're unfinished Daniel.
How are you? I'm very well, thank you, ma. What did you say?
We have scores to settle.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear your voice yesterday. My name is Mr. Somi.
Auntie
Somi?
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead,
Okay.
please.
I remember when I was younger, from Jos, during holiday, they will take us to Benin. Sometimes we go to Lagos. Sometimes we go to Port Harcourt. Do you know why? Not that we have resources. So my uncle will tell my dad that traveling is part of education and that when people travel, they learn. So as you are leaving Jos, when you get to Soso State, they will tell you, welcome to Soso State. Do you understand? But today, so many people will choose to fly, not because they have the resources. Some do have the resources. They want their children to know different parts of the country. But because of insecurity, they will not do it. Even somebody that does not have at all, look at what Mr. Gabriel is telling us, how much is his salary. But he chose for the wife to travel, then him to travel by air. Secondly, our roads, they are more like when you have road safety or VIO, we are complaining of checking vehicle. They too, who is checking the road for them? The roads are not good. So by and by, that's why many people will prefer to fly. Auntie, flying is not even fun. Some people don't like fly like Aro Kelly, but they don't have option. To fly now is expensive. Now, what you are running for is always waiting for you.
All right.
Do you know that these men of the underworld? All right, thank you. We'll continue later.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry, apologies. We had to cut it short because our time is done. But yes, I mean, speaking about the situation with the airfares and all of that, at the end of the day, how do we strike the balance is where the conversation was going. What role does government need to play? Are they playing any role currently? Whatever the case is, they need to do something about it. Over 300% is criminal. That's the way I see it. We'll be back later.
sports after this.
Tabbas yanzu lokaci ne na bukukuwa musamman